What are your thoughts on Triple H? Did you get along with him?
Yeah, I mean, it was professional. I mean, nothing ever.
Right.
You know, at the beginning, I thought that he was a fan of my work or whatever, and I remember having, I had matches with all the guys over on SmackDown: Benoit, Ray, Booker T, Undertaker, Kane, Fit Finley, anybody and everybody, and they would all sing praises and say, great job, keep it up. And then I worked one match with Triple H, and that was like the next time I was working mid-card guys. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know. Nothing was ever said to me though. So if there was a problem, I'm of the, if I have a problem, or if I'm doing something wrong, somebody needs to tell me about it so I can fix it, because I'm all about fixing mistakes. I mean, that's what I did when I was in the independents. I would wrestle, make mistakes, and then somebody would say, hey, you did this, you did that, you did this, you should have done this, this, and this. And then I would go fix it. And then I'd send another tape to WWE, and they would say, hey, he's improving, he's getting better. But I can't fix something if I don't know what the problem is. But I always sensed that there was something.
Right.
I just didn't know what it was. Nobody would tell me.
Did you ever, want to go up to Triple H and ask him, hey, Hunter, what's your beef with me? Or was it something that you just...
No, because he was always nice to me.
Right.
To my, to my face, as far as I know. I did ask Shawn Michaels one time. I said, do you hate me or something? Like, what's the deal? Because I sensed there was something there. And he said, no, man, no. Like, if I'm doing something, please, I look up to you guys, and I don't know everything. I'm still learning too. And I would really appreciate it that if I am doing something wrong, that you guys would say something to me. And I was told, no, everything's fine. So.
You think they're just baby facing you, or?
I don't know.
What was it like to do angles with Vince? And was he pretty easy to work with?
I just thought that those little segments were just kind of, like, it seemed like not a whole lot of thought was put into it as far as my character went, and I don't know. I just always felt like there could have been so much more, but they just
rushed it.
The verbiage was just kind of,
right,
and the whole situation.
What were your thoughts on Steph and Shane?
Well, Shane, for one, is just he, as far as I know, he's pretty removed from the whole backstage aspect of things. He pretty much runs an entirely different division back in Stamford, so he never really comes around too much.
Right.
And he does. He's just, he's a cool guy, very nice.
A lot of people say he wants to be more or less one of the boys.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way?
Definitely. Definitely. I remember seeing him and Batista, like, rolling around on the floor, like, wrestling with each other, like legitimately, like, he would go and get his shorts and stuff on it. And even if he wasn't, he wouldn't be working the show or anything like that. He'd just go get his t-shirt and his shorts on and go out, and they'd be like, shoot wrestling on the floor. Like, just a cool guy. And Stephanie, Stephanie was, she's good to work with, very particular. Like, there were a lot of times where we would, there was some stuff with MVP where we would just be kind of flowing and going, and she'd be like, well, I think you should say it like this. And so we would go back and do it again. There was a lot of that, like a lot of like retakes, and, which sometimes can get kind of like, oh my God, like you kind of lose the reality of it, it starts to feel fake. And
right.
Where it doesn't feel like it's just natural anymore. That's, but other than that.
Do you feel she's pretty smart to the business?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know, and I've heard people say that she doesn't understand the way that the business works and stuff like that. Or, she'd be in meetings and whatever, and hold her own in any conversation as far as
right.
the psychology behind the business, and she knows all that stuff. She's a smart businesswoman, and she's very business. You know, she calls Vince. You know, she doesn't call him Dad. You know?
Right.
And
can she influence her father at all, you think, or does she have any power over him in a little bit?
yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I mean, Vince ultimately has the ultimate say, but yeah, I definitely think that she can get in his ear and say
Right.
yes or no to something.
Memories of Bobby Lashley. You got to work with Bobby a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What was he like to work with? Was his heart into it, or?
Yeah, I thought so. I think I don't know. I don't really know what was going on, you know, backstage, whatever. I don't know what kind of issues he was having, but I think towards the end he was getting frustrated. I could sense frustration about something. I didn't know what it was though. But yeah, definitely. When we were in OVW, he was just like everybody else, just hungry, paid his dues. He would, you know, he'd be there setting up the ring with everybody else. Never, and I sense that from the early, you know, there's certain guys that, like, you know, when I got hired, I got $500 a week.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Bobby got way more than that. But he never acted like he was something special, that he was destined for stardom and everybody else was below him and anything like that. He's just a very soft-spoken, hard-working, and that's the one thing too, is like he's just such a hard worker. Like, and Bobby was one of the guys that would stay after. Like, guys would, you know, we'd be at camp for 4 or 5 hours, and then they'd say, all right, you guys can go, and we'd stay and roll around in the ring and, you know, brush up on things, work on different stuff, and very, very strong and good at what he does. Like, he's very, I think the mixed martial arts world is
His cup of tea.
yeah, definitely, and I think that he will be very successful. I think that in a couple of years you're going to see, if not sooner, I think you're going to see Bobby fighting Brock in the UFC. He's good, and I remember him at OVW getting in the ring with certain guys, like Nick Nemeth was like I don't know, he was a decorated amateur wrestler, and he would get in the ring with guys like Nick and just tear them apart. And it wouldn't even be, you know. And I remember watching Bobby wrestling with somebody, and then he would say, like, he would have a guy in a hold or something like that, and he would just coach him through it. He would be like, okay, take your left arm, grab my right ankle and pull, and then, you know, boom, the guy, you know, get out of whatever Bobby had him in, and Bobby would just go and put him right back into something else. You know, it was just like effortless. So, and I know that his training, you know, he lives in Colorado, so he trains in that environment, that high altitude, and I think that's why he moved there, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I don't know if he's from there originally, but I know that he went there for that reason, to just so that he would have that edge over anybody else. So,
how did you land the role for Behind Enemy Lines?
It was, I got a call from Mark Carano one day, and he said, we're sending you a script, and we'd like you to read for it. There was about, I'd say, 15 to 20 other guys that read for it. And we went into a hotel room somewhere, I think it was in New York, and just did a reading in front of the camera. And I waited for about 3 months. It was interesting because I was talking to Bobby Lashley on the phone one day, and it was right around Christmas time, because I remember I was home for something. I was at my mom's house, and I remember talking to Bobby, and I was like, you know, I read for this movie like a couple months ago, and I'm still waiting to hear back from him. And I don't know what the deal is. I can take no, you know, I'm a big boy. I can take rejection. I wish they would just tell me if I didn't make it.
Right.
And that day, like, I got off the phone with Bobby, and, you know, he was already gone from the company, but about 2 hours later, I got a phone call from Mike Lake, and he's like, we're gonna offer you the part. So,
what was that like for you? What was that whole experience like?
it was awesome. I know, like, I mean, it was something that I wanted to do from the time I was a little kid. You know, like I said before, we'd get video cameras together and write a little script and get a bunch of kids in the neighborhood together. We'd make movies. You know, I got into plays and acting and stuff like that because I wanted to make movies. I did my one semester of college because I wanted to make movies. So I wanted to entertain people. And then, so here was like this dream coming true for me. You know, and I went down to Puerto Rico, and you know, I always watch a lot of extras. Like anytime a DVD comes out, I always watch the extras.
Right.
I watch the process that the actors go through to get to playing the role on screen. And you know, I did all that. You know, I researched for the part, and then when we got down there, we had you know, fight classes where we would work on the choreography for fight scenes and stuff like that. And we had training with the military, and you know, so it was a great experience. And I got to work with Tim Matheson, who was great to work with, and you know, I've been a fan of his since Animal House, since I watched it behind my parents' back when I was a little kid. You know, they had it in the drawer of beta tapes, and whenever gone, I'd put it in the drawer and watch it.